A very warm welcome back to the Big Five Racing Podcast for the second time this week, folks, and thank you very much for joining us on one of the special edition episodes on what is simply the biggest race meeting anywhere on planet Earth. 14 Group 1s, 13 nations represented, over $20 million in prize money, and all that before one of the all-time great classics on paper. Welcome along, everybody, to the 2025 Breeders' Cup World Championships from Del Mar Racecourse in California, our preview for it. We have an absolutely stacked lineup for you, and we'll be providing you tips across the 2 days racing with our best insights, primarily from the European charge, and what horses from these shores have the best chance, really, in particular, of getting their head across. Probably going to be dominant course on the turf, but you never know. There could be a few dirt chances in there as well. The usual suspects have been given a break for their national hunt head, so it's a pleasure to welcome back to the podcast for another year the sharp-minded Racing Post's Liam Watson. He's here to help provide some winners and insights. It's great to have you back on, Liam. Hopefully you're keeping well and no doubt looking forward to what is one of the best weekends racing of the year.
Yes, I'm back by popular demand, Harrison. Yeah, it's a great weekend. It's a great way to end the season, really. I mean, I always find it that this is the end of the flat season, really, for me. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's always a great card.
Absolutely, yeah. So what we are going to do with you this year is we're going to take you through the 3 two-year-old juvenile races on the turf on the Friday for the Future Stars edition. Before we then go on to the Saturday card, where we're going to take you through, I think it's all 8 of the Group 1s, both on the dirt and the turf, building you up to the Breeders' Cup Classic in the middle of the pack there. All the times for us, of course, are in the UK, so just adjust your sets how you need to. And really, other than that, let's just get straight into the tips. We'll go to the Future Stars Friday card. Then I think it's a fantastic incentive, really, to have these races, and it gives you an idea of what to look for in a year's time on the Saturday card. But also, of course, we could be looking at early Derby and Oaks contenders and the likes from around the world. So it'll be very interesting to see how we go through with them. We start very, very fast as well this year with a 9:45 on the card. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint is over 5 furlongs. You're going to hear this quite a bit for the next 15 minutes, and with no real surprise, the Master of Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien, has the favourite here in True Love, who draws 9 at 100-30, and then you're into the American Schwarzenegger at 7-1 before you're back to Aidan O'Brien for a little bit of each way value if you like it. Start me off then with this True Love, Liam. Being a season where I think that he's probably over-defied expectation. He wasn't the star 2-year-old on the media days at the start of the year, but since then has run some fantastic races. Wayne Lorden's doing the 8 stone 7 here. I think Christoph Simeon's hoping to do it the day after, but Wayne Lorden's going to take it here. The thin weights, and you can see why he's the favourite.
Yeah, she's been in good form all year, to be fair. I was really taken aback when she ran really well on debut against Lady Man, and I thought she was Lady Man was a really good 2-year-old this year. You know, in the early part of the season, obviously that probably didn't transpire. Well, she ran in the Nunthorpe and probably didn't work out. But no, I've been taken aback. I thought her best run was at Ascot. That was super impressive. And then obviously I think what didn't help, she got beat in the Keeneland, the Phoenix Stakes. And I think that was a bit because she was so short. She was, she got beat at 1-4. I think, was it Gustave that was supposed to run in that race and didn't, and there was a bit of a switch and this and that, and then Power Blue won. But I thought Power Blue was quite a good horse this year. So I think she's a fine bet, to be fair, at 100-30 at the moment. But then, because it is Aidan O'Brien, he has multiple horses. I actually really like Mission Central for this race. It's got the Irish champion jockey Dylan Brown McMonagle jocked up. Heavy for confidence. I do love when jockeys are confident. And he ran. So he ran really well at Ascot. That 2-year-old race on Champions Day, the new edition. So I think he beat that useful Charlie Appleby horse, didn't he? The Words of Truth that everyone has been hyping up all year.
Horse, yeah.
Yeah, 9 could be a tough draw, couldn't it? What do you think? In Brussels would be the best drawn horse there?
Yeah, low draws on the turf I've found to be where I'd want to be with these Breeders' Cup horses the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I just think Brussels be too inconsistent, to be honest, at back. I mean, like, this was one of the, like we were talking about, True Love wasn't one of the perennial horses that came out of Ballydoyle in the first few months. Brussels was.
Yeah.
I would be pretty quick to dismiss him personally.
Maybe, there's a thing there because obviously Christoph hasn't gone down the weight to ride True Love. So maybe he thinks that he doesn't need to.
Well, he's riding. God, I can't. I need to figure out who it is that he's riding tomorrow. But he's doing the same weight off that on the horse on the Saturday, 121 pounds, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But he's not doing it for this, which it just finds a bit interesting. Why is he not going down the weight on the Friday?
Oh,
but that would be low for him. For Sumion to do 121 pounds now,
he's doing that weight on Mini Hawk, which is probably understandable because.
But then, like my theory there is, why is he not doing 121 pounds on True Love on the Friday? Will it matter? Probably not. Wayne Lord, Group 1 jockey in his own right, he's about 56. I mean, there's not a problem. You know what Ballydoyle are like. They trust their jockeys. True Love's too short for me, was what I came to the conclusion of. Brussels, I just flare with inconsistencies. He would be a frustrating winner for me. The one I went for was one that's got form lines and has to prove herself behind True Love, is Havana Anna. Who on a couple of occasions this season has finished behind True Love, more notably last time out at Newmarket.
Yeah.
But had a nice win at Nace earlier on in the summer and has been progressive enough. And then I just look at the prices and think True Love 130, Havana Anna 8-1. I'm getting a first shot in the dark there at 8-1 for nothing each way. So probably the weakest of the selections I have on the turf in all the races we're doing here. But I thought Havana Anna, not a bad price for Sonic O'Brien.
Okay, I'm gonna back Mission Central. What do you think about the American horse?
Don't know. I watched the replay there this morning, but if there was more money coming for it, I'd be more concerned. Is kind of my stature on things. Wesley Ward's obviously been very famous over here for having fast sprinters over the years, but it's been poor in the market. It opened up at 5-1 on the morning line. It's out to 7-1 now. I just think it's way too weak, personally.
One horse that I thought had a chance as well as an outsider was the Venelu. Is that even the right pronunciation? It's just came third to True Love at Ascot and then won at Gulfstream next time out. And I kind of thought coming over as a 2-year-old in his third start to run at Ascot and finishing third was pretty impressive for an American horse. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe back stateside, he might have a chance of running a bit over the odds. He's 12-1 at the moment, so she might have a chance of running a bit over the odds.
They've not had the best away days American horses on our soil for a while, so if it can do third in Britain, then it's probably a very each way shot. Being back on American soil, but that'll be Havana Anna for me and Mission Central for you. Two of the Irish horses off the bat in the juvenile sprint. We'll move on to the 11.05 and the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Grade 1, of course, again. Shocker, who's got the favourite? Aidan O'Brien, precise in here at 5-4 in the Coolmore colours. Again, I hate to keep doing this, but there's a reason these horses are favourites and why he's been the master of what he's done for so long on these turf grade 1s. And Precise has been stacking number 1s beside its name. Hard to oppose this one.
Yeah, no, really impressive. I've actually backed this horse a few times this season. I backed her when she won at Goodwood. I couldn't believe it that day because all the money went in for Moon Target. Sir Mark Prescott's horse. I just couldn't believe it. It was like a Sunday. There was not much going on. I think Goodwood was like the only main meeting on.
Still running Moon Target, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that was it's still Moon Target's still running around. Not sure why, because I'm not sure why she's already got group phase form. So why would she not wait till a 3-year-old? I don't know. Maybe they think she's going to be a 2-year-old, but no, Precise has been impressive. She won that Molly Gaia. And I didn't back her that day, and I was really annoyed with myself.
I was on composing that day, the even money favourite, and I was rock solid. And then I watched that Moyclair, and the way she was sort of kicking on over 7 furlongs made me think the further this horse goes, the better she's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I backed Venetian Sun, who who has probably, we're going to talk about her again because she's got a lot of 2-year-old form tied into a lot of people, a lot of horses here. But that was a good Moigler, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good to see Ronan Whelan back in business. He's been the big benefactor of. Maybe Christoph's been the biggest benefactor of Moore's injury, but Ronan Whelan, he's come back to life, hasn't he? Near enough.
Yeah.
But then I kind of thought with Precise here, I kind of thought Stall 13. I know it's been done before with an Aidan O'Brien horse, but I just thought Stall 13 might be the undoing here. And then I kind of went through the card and I kind of thought, okay, there's a lot of American interests here. But then Queen of Hawaii stood out for me. I thought. Got the champion jockey on, as I keep on saying, and I thought she had a impressive 2-year-old form as well. I thought that she was behind composing on debut, but then she beat 2 well-fancied O'Brien horses next time out. I thought she was a good horse. I thought she's draw handy. She's a prominent horse. She runs prominent, and being drawn stall 2 means she'll be able to get into a good position. But did you have any fancies? Did you have any fancies on the American horses? Or
of the American horses I looked at, I thought Imagination the Lady was the best. 2 runs, 2 fantastic wins so far, and to have done it at Keeneland as well. I think it was a big price in that group 2 last time out. I mean, open to improvement. Frankie takes the ride for Brendan Walsh, who has a good knack with his 2-year-olds, especially on the turf. I didn't really look down the card any further than that to try and be cute here or anything like that. I just put Precise up, and I will bet Precise in this as well. Like I said there, like you pointed out, that Moigler looks like it's going to be the form race going in for the 3-year-olds next year when we get to the Guineas and the Irish versions of every race as well. And I just thought that the 7 furlongs was good, and like I said there, it felt to me the more she was going to pull away and go further clear in distance and up in trip, she was going to prove herself again. Went to Newmarket over a mile in the Fillies mile there. Brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. She pushed them away.
Yeah, that was really impressive, yeah.
Yeah, that was. So I think that retaining the mile here and then going up to possibly be a mile and a half Oaks horse next year is very much what I think Aidan O'Brien's got on side there. Aidan O'Brien didn't have like a particularly fancy Breeders' Cup last year, so I'm hoping that he's going to get on the board here very early on the Friday.
Okay, well, he won this race last year with Lake Victoria.
Yeah, and we put Lake Victoria up as well last year. And
yeah, that was
fine.
like our only winner on the Friday night, I think. Maybe we had a few more. I can't remember, to be fair. But what do you think about the draw, Stall 13?
Yeah, pain. Like I've literally just pointed out there that low draws on the turf in America is my bread and butter. I like being mid to wide on the dirt. I like being low on the turf because you can just kind of ping at your fence and just try and just get to the front. She'll have a lot of work to do from 13 Sumions on this one because the £3 is obviously fine for him. So I trust Sumion's probably going to want to take a bit of cover, which is obviously amicable from 13. He can probably just try and find middle ground if he can. Won't want to go right to the front and then leave it late on the turn. Short enough running at Del Mar, to be fair. Like we pointed this out last year, it's not it's a pretty sharp track, to be fair. It's where most places would be a mile. This place is 7 furlongs, so I don't want to be too far back when they turn in, but I don't want to be in the lead either.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay. What price would do you think Precise would be if she had a better draw?
Well, we'll see how the odds compilers make the morning line on the Friday because she's 5-4 now and she's about the same in the States. If she was a low draw, I think this would go off even money. It would take a lot to put this into odds on, I think. Right. So I think the market's pretty sharp on it personally.
Okay, so perfect.
That's who I'm going for the
Precise
juvenile.
For you and Queen of Hawaii for me.
Queen of Hawaii, a good big each way price. Dylan Braham McMonagle, the champion jockey. If you didn't know. The 12.25, the last of the 2-year-old races we're going to take you through is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Back on the grass again, another grade 1 here. You never guess who's got the favourite, Liam. Gestad in here, the talking horse of 2025 for the 2-year-olds. 1-1-2-2-2-2. The form at the minute is the 5-4 favourite. Sumion, O'Brien, 8 stone 10. Couple of American horses then in behind the likes of Outfielder, Bossas, Argos, all coming here with wins. In what would be an each way to otherwise market. That's kind of how they make the markets for these Breeders' Cup races. They put the O'Brien horse in short. They expect it to win. If they don't, you're going to get paid good for an each way. But there's not a lot really separating the Americans in terms of form and everything we've seen from them so far. A lot of them obviously haven't seen each other yet. So that's why they come here. Gestad 5-4. Is he one for you?
It's a difficult one because I do think Gestad would be better over a mile. I think that's what he's been crying out for this season. I was taken aback. I thought he was, when all the 2-year-old races that Aiden won at Royal Ascot this year. You think he won pretty much most of them, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Gestad was the best performance.
Yeah.
When he beat, I think he beat Do or Do Not, and I think he beat Kapul. Yeah, he did. I thought that was visually the best 2-year-old race at Royal Ascot this year because he just went through the middle, and it was like he was the only winner, wasn't he?
You could call him a furlong out.
Yeah, he was. I thought that was, and then obviously since Royal Ascot, he hasn't probably lived up to expectations because I think he's been beaten 3 times since.
Yeah, beaten in Deauville, the Curragh, and Newmarket, all his favourite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I backed him at Deauville next time out. Was really Venetian Sun again beat him. Yeah, I thought that was the most impressive performance. And I thought he was crying out for a mile. Sorry, I think he probably will win, but I think I will have a win bet on Gestad and then also have an each way bet on Outfielder. I thought Outfielder was another one who would improve for stepping up as a mile. I don't know if you remember this horse, but Amo paid a lot of money for him, didn't he? And this was like the big talking horse. I'll just get the sales record up here. Oh no, he didn't pay that much money. No, okay, sorry, but this was a big talking horse, wasn't he, at the start of the year? And he was supposed to go to Royal Ascot, but didn't make the trip. And then he ran in Deauville behind Gestad and Venetian Sun, and I just kind of thought he looked more of a miler. The Dam won at a mile. The sire, Speightstown, it was a sprinter, but has been known for producing more 7 furlong mile horses. So I thought this was a simple race. To be fair, I thought those two were the standouts, and I'm happy because it says 8-1 here on my phone for Outfielder, and I thought that's a fair each way, and I think just win on Gestad. Would you be considering playing the 3 Aidan O'Briens in a treble or a Trixie or anything?
I won't play True Love. I just think that race is more open than the pricing probably suggests. What I will do, and it's my tip for this, is I probably will play Precise with Gestad. I would be bigger on Precise, I think. Gestad is now starting to burn fingers a little bit the last couple of runs. Obviously, fantastically, like you said there at the Royal Meeting, but then since then it's been should have won. Probably last time out, I think it was Newmarket. It was a bit like sort of that really should have won. Getting beat by 25-1 shot on the day. But agree with you with a lot you said there. I think a mile is where this horse is at its best. I don't think it'll get a Derby trip in a year's time. I then looked at the rest of the race. There is a couple bigger prices I like on Championship Saturday that we'll go into in a minute. But with this, I just thought, yeah, you're probably right that if one's going to beat it, it would be the second in the market without Fielder. I thought the run at Deauville was obviously a bit disappointing, but the run at Churchill before that, there was signs of excitement. Obviously, like you said, Ammo are putting crazy money down. They're probably due a big winner, aren't they, on one of these cards? So they won't be too far away from that. But Gestad for me just looked rock solid at 5-4.
Yeah, I'd agree. I feel like on the Friday night, Gestad would be, I think, my nap. Think of all the money I'm going to have on Breeders' Cup this weekend. I think the most on Friday night will be on Gestad. And then
there you go.
A little bit on Outfielder.
Happy days. Brilliant, though. That's the 3 2-year-old races then from the Friday part of the Breeders' Cup card. We're going to take you now to the World Championship Saturday, the best, not even close, the best days racing of the year. We've got 8 Group 1s to take you through, and we're going to take you through them in card order. So get yourself ready for this one because there's going to be some very, very interesting tips coming your way over the next hour or so. The 7 o'clock's where we'll kick off then with the PNC Bank Breeders' Cup Filly and Mares Dirt Sprint. They'll go over 7 furlongs here, of course, open company, 3-year-olds and above. Richard Bolter's probably not a name we've mentioned too many times when we've done these American podcasts as the favorite here in Sweet Azteca. 2 wins this year as a 5-year-old. Is the 2-1 favorite, 5-1, then at bigger prices about the rest. First of the dirt races here, Liam. Obviously, we don't have any dirt races in Europe, and it's a bit of a shame, really. I don't know. Well, I suppose you probably count Wolverhampton, don't you, as dirt racing? But I don't think any of the horses that are running in Class 5s on a Tuesday are going to meet up to this standard.
No, I doubt it. But I did. My long-term belief is, in Ireland, I've always been talking about building a second all-weather track in Tipperary, and I've always wanted them to risk it and put a bit of dirt, in the middle, just a little bit. Not saying they want I know that the Irish want another Dundalk, but I want a dirt track somewhere in Europe, in Britain or in Ireland, and it would just kind of make sense, wouldn't it? Imagine if we could have a dirt, like if City of Troy could have got a race on the dirt last year in England or Ireland, and then had to go on the dirt. It would have made more sense to send him over. You know what I mean? I've always kind of thought that.
Well, he had his big day out with Southall.
Southall a few years ago when we had the sand, but that was I think that was more prone because of the rain. I want one that's like proper American dirt. Maybe it's like inside.
Yeah.
I mean, this would require a lot of investment, and I don't think there's much investment going on anymore. So it's just always been like my idea. If I ran...
Right. So you want a beach? Do you want a horse in the 7 o'clock at Del Mar as well?
Right. Sorry about that. I don't really want a horse in the 7 o'clock Del Mar because I thought this was a really tricky race. I was gonna hope on your expertise here because I was looking at it. I looked at a few replays and I kind of thought that the Mike Smith horse was pretty good, but that's about it. To be fair, what do you think?
Hope Road was my pick for this one. I went with Bob Baffert's horse. The top horse at the Richard Belcher's horse at the top of the market, 2-1's a bit short for me. I mean, the thing is with the American lines, they get them spot on with the dart. Normally, if the favorite's the favorite and it's rock solid, it's for a good reason. The 2 runs were good this year. I just don't really fancy 5-year-olds in this race. With Hope Road, I watched it last time out at Saratoga. Beat Scylla. It was a big price. Obviously, the Juddmonte horse that went over onto the dart there. I was pulling clear of that one over 7 furlongs. So Trip, I think the most ideal 7 furlong horse here probably is Hope Road. Jose Ortiz takes the ride again. I just think he's been rock solid all season. She's been rock solid rather all season. A couple of runs at Churchill, which were on faster ground than she's probably likely to encounter at Del Mar. Looks like it'll be on standard to slow side by the weather reports. So a lot to like, really. I wasn't huge really for a tip in this one, but I thought if I was going to put anything up, it would be Hope Road.
I'm big. Bob Baffert has got 3 horses in this race, hasn't he? So
yes, he does. Bob Baffert's second year back at the Breeders' Cup after his naughty time on the sidestep.
Yeah, on the sidestep, on the naughty step, really, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to lose money early on, so I won't back in this race.
Okay, fair enough. No tip for you then in the Filly and Mare on the dirt. We'll go back onto the grass then for the 7:41 there. The Prevagen Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint over 5 furlongs. Wide open market in this one. Notorious for Philippe D'Amato at 4-1 is your current favourite. Very, very Italian combination, that, isn't it? AG Bullets over there again for Richard Baltus at 5-1. Arizona Blaze. The Irish contingent here at 7-1 for Ammo Race and Refront 10-1. Bigger prices about the rest. This is true. This was by an absolute mile the hardest I found to try and get a winner in, Liam.
All right. Well, I thought the favourite looked pretty good. I'll be honest with you. He ran at Del Mar the last day and came back from like 10 miles behind and then just won, didn't he? Was it on the line? Is that right?
Yes, it did.
I thought he looked really good. I thought he was drawn poorly that day, and I thought today he might be drawn a bit better to get, draw one. He can do whatever he wants there. He can go to the rail. He can cover up, and I think he can do his best work late on. I thought this was an easier race than the last race, to be honest. I thought Reef Runner as well. I thought he had a fair chance because he had good form.
He was in the photo with Notorious last time out.
Yeah,
as well.
He was in the photo with Notorious last time. I thought he could be the each way angle here. I thought Arizona Blaze. I'll be honest with you, knowing what we know now about Group 1 sprints in Britain and Ireland this year, could we really go in with Arizona Blaze?
I discounted every single British and Irish horse here in immediate effect. If you're backing a British and Irish sprinter over in America, you're just setting money on fire, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I thought that he could be. I thought he could be the pace angle here. I thought he could be the pace angle for Motor Riders. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing names.
What that might do for you, though, and I'm in agreement, because Arizona Blaze does normally shoot off like it's got a firework up its ass, because that's out of stall 3. If you're quite keen on the favourite here, I think that he's probably going to get a really good trip in off the back of Arizona Blaze, and then if he fades away, then the race could set up very nicely for the favourite here.
That's kind of how I saw it. What do you think about AJ Bullet?
Again, like the 2 runs recently have been very good, but I've seen that horse be brilliant and terrible at the same time. And I think that wave of consistency at 5-1, I'd probably want a slightly bigger price personally. And I do see this horse drifting, to be honest. It already opened up at 4s. Stall 8, fine, not an issue. It's just, I don't know. You make a fair case about the favourites. And again, you're getting a decent enough price, obviously, if it's good enough.
And the favourite was second in this last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but maybe the only issue I'd have with the favorite is 7-year-old sprinter. I mean, Cadam's in here; he's about 46 as well. Like, I don't know. I just look at the older horses and think I'm hoping that something of this generation is able to go by, and that's where my tip in the race came from. I went with She's So Spicy, the 3-year-old.
Okay. Nice.
Jose D'Angelo and my pal Irad Ortiz, the first time I'm backing him this weekend. And if you ever want to just blind back any human anywhere in the world, Irad Ortiz is your man, especially in a sprint where you know he's going to try and get some early pace and try and kill them from the front. No one has ever been a better jockey on planet Earth than him for doing that. The last 5 runs has won 4 times. Has been really, really consistent, to be fair. Maybe not beating the most enthralling of company, but it's been winning races that it shouldn't have. Of course, she came over to the Royal Meeting, blew out in the Commonwealth Cup that Time for Sandals won. But again, right, Arizona Blaze was second that day, and by far Arizona Blaze's best performance, in my opinion, over 6. I think dropping back down to 5 now, getting the ability to just bowl along with the turns, not having that sort of flatulation of Ascot. I think if you scratch that run, the wins at Keeneland and Churchill and Gulfstream this year, I think have put her in at a good price. I just thought 12-1 was quite a big price personally.
Yeah, no, I kind of see it. In fairness, last year, I just looked at I just remembered what I played last year, Cogburn. I was all in on Cogburn last year.
That was a poor ride from Irad. I mean, I'll praise him where I can, but I don't know. He shot off like a tank, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I got flashbacks on Cogburn just then when I looked at the last year's. What about Kadeem then? The old
Too
boy.
old, just past his best. I think it's great Charlie Hills is getting the day out there, but you're not back.
He ran well in America the last time, didn't he?
Yeah,
he's been in America all year this year, hasn't he?
And maybe that, like, we'll get to some of Godolphin's horses a little later on in the Group 1s. That does, obviously, it's something in the back of your mind. You think if they've had the run over there, that helps. I'll always take that into consideration. And if it's one, like say if it's one at a Woodbine or a Churchill Downs, that just makes you think that's good. I think I can pretty quickly dismiss personally.
Yeah, I would like to see the old boy win.
Maybe. Definitely, yeah. He would. I
want to see Motor win. Big Motor. That's what I want to see. I'm going to go Motor for the first. I might do a reverse forecast on Arizona Blaze and Reef Runner, I think.
Very good. You're on the TriCast there, then you're in some business, aren't you? But the favorite for you, and she's so spicy out of the 3-year-olds for me in the turf sprint. 8:21 then. We'll keep this rolling with the Side Games Breeders' Cup Sprint over 6 furlongs. We're back on the dirt here, so no surprise to see it's an American contingency at the top. Ben Tomato, Irad Ortiz takes that with the 4-1 favourites. Bob Baffert's in there with Imagination at 9-2. And then it's a pretty sort of wide open. The great thing about these Group 1s, because they're so competitive, is you're getting 4-1 the field. So even if you're just taking a stab at one, you've got a good chance. If I was to take a guess at what you're going to back here, you were a big Straight No Chaser fan 12 months ago. You back on side here?
Yeah, well remembered. I love Straight No Chaser, not just because he's a syndicate horse, but I loved him last year, didn't I? He won a big prize last year. I think it was about 13-2, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a big prize.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Then he won at Riyadh as well. And that was the last. I think that was the last time I was on this. Like Popular Demand, I was on it, and I called him my naff of the Saudi meeting. Is that right?
I think so. Yes, when we did the Saudi Cup.
I love him. I think he's had. But I'm not going to be on side. I'm going to back Imagination here. I thought Imagination was really impressive the last time when he beat Straight No Chaser at Santa Anita. I don't know about you, but I thought that was really visually impressive. I think Straight No Chaser will probably give him a lead again, and then it will be a repeat of that. I think I would side with Straight No Chaser each way. I think, and then go for Imagination. I think that's how I was shortlisted. What do you think?
Imagination was very impressive the other day. I'll give you that at Santa Anita as well, which rides pretty similar to Delmar. Has had enough of a break as well now. 33 days since that, so it's obviously it qualified out of Santa Anita. They put it away and been patient with this. And Bob Baffert's due to have some winners on the dirt this weekend, isn't he? Really, so this might well be his biggest chance. I went absolutely daft with this one, just because I was struggling with the idea that this was a really good division in America at the minute. I just don't think I don't look at those 6 furlong sprinters, the open company ones, with any real progression at the top.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and get them beat. This will be my. Sorry.
Can I just butt in?
Yeah, go for it.
So Harrison has gone really mad here.
No.
Madhouse.
Well spotted, but
is that what the
my journalism integrity doesn't go down that far, unfortunately. I'm not as I'm not.
I thought I was going to hear like the most corniest joke being led up there. Go on, sorry.
I'm not that petty, unfortunately. I thought about it, but no. That would have been good for me, actually. I've gone for a Japanese horse in here that I've watched a couple of times, which makes me sound like I've got nothing better to do with my Wednesdays. But American Stage 33-1 each way is the one I've gone for here. The majority of the people who would have recognized the name of this horse would have been from what you've seen in a Maidan. I ran in that UAE Derby thing against Twos and was second best out of those. Obviously, Twos doesn't come over to America, so we'll never know how good he is. And then ran 6th in the Golden Shaheen at the April meeting there. Went back over, so had the season off, reappeared then in Japan a couple of weeks ago, was 2nd, went down a neck at Kyoto. Very unfortunate not to win that race as well. Was kind of drifting off to the left-hand side a little bit, just couldn't manage to get straightened up. I think going around the other way, because Kyoto was obviously left-handed, going right-handed around here in America is going to help big time. Ryoshi Sakai is over for the ride as well, one of my favorite jockeys on planet Earth. And I just thought, look, there's open chance for a 3-year-old to improve here against an open division in America that I think is really struggling personally. And I just thought the timing could be very right for this horse. I think that the early onslaught of its 3-year-old campaign was in against some good horses like Twos in Dubai. In a year's time, well, not even a year's time now, when we get back to that meeting in April, I think it's going to beat Twos. That'll finally get beaten for the first time in years. So I just thought 33-1, you are playing a monster price here. As long as the Japanese don't do that freaky thing where they just, put billions on one horse and send it off like 8-1. I think this has got a great chance each way. It was like Kai Ying Rising a few weeks ago. It was just I think it went off like 1.3 on the toe. It was ridiculous, but I thought 33-1. Why not? We'll have a go.
Yeah, why not? Actually, yeah. To be fair, you've thought about that, because that's actually, I'm considering backing it now because I love Tuz as well. Tuz is fantastic, isn't he?
Right, yeah. If Tuz was over, he'd probably be favourite for this.
Yeah. Good shout, mate. I appreciate that. I might
There
back
we
that each
go.
way myself.
Bit of 33 to 1 insight for you there for the sprint.
Okay.
Right. Sorry,
Okay.
go on.
I was going to say, you think Straight No Chaser's finished?
No, I actually thought he was a fairly decent price at 8 to 1. I thought, the last time out was third. Still only 6. I mean, I wouldn't say he's definitely done. You'd want to have a bit of forgiveness about you because obviously since he won that race a year ago, he hasn't really shown anything, has he? But I thought, I'm not particularly into these sprint dirt races, so I just thought, I was quite surprised you didn't decide to back him. To be fair,
Yes, I will back him each way though.
there you go. 8 to 1, I think, is a more than fair price to back each way on any horse. So yeah,
If,
I think he's got a fair chance.
if you love a horse like I love Straight No Chaser, you have to back him.
Oh yeah. I
You have
piss
to,
money away on Krug Park 5 times a year. I know he's not going to win, but got to back him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go then. We're going to turn it right up a gear now then for the next 20 minutes or so as we really start to get into the big time races. The 901 from Del Mar is the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, Grade 1, fillies and mares. Won a year ago by the brilliant Torpedo Anna, of course, sadly retired a couple of weeks ago due to a setback. She would have been a massive favourite for this if she came. Not to be, Bob Baffert has the favourite instead with Seismic Beauty, who's chasing a four-timer. Juan Hernandez takes the ride at 9 to 4. Nitrogen's been ultra consistent all year round as 4 to 1. Bigger prices about the rest. Liam, I'm fascinated to know where you've decided to go with the distaff this year. This looks on paper quite a good renewal.
Yeah, no, it is a good renewal. Yeah. I think the last couple of years it's always been like a odds on favourites that's won. Oh no, sorry. Idiomatic won it 2 years ago. Which was a fair price. Yeah. Really good race last year, wasn't it? It was probably the race of the
meeting, yeah. And Torpedo Anna was just brilliant.
Yeah, everybody had a winner. Everyone's one leg in the double wins. I couldn't see past the favourite here. I don't know about you. I thought Seismic Beauty is a good horse. I think she might just win. What do you think?
We did the Jumps podcast yesterday, thinking, how on earth did he go from talking from Down Royal to Del Mar? And I said that the Seismic Beauty was the right favourite for this race, chasing the four-timer. She's been just brilliantly consistent. Stall 8 is a bit wide. I don't know. I don't mind them being too wide on the flat, but on the dirt, but I don't know. It's a lot of work to do from 8 over a mile and change. Nitrogen is going to be my nap of the Breeders' Cup for 2025.
Oh.
I have been absolutely rock solid on this horse all year round. People know me personally, they'll know that very much to be true. And the consistency on show in 2025 from this horse has been brilliant. 7 runs, 5 wins, 2 seconds. 2 seconds that lost by a neck and a nose. Could easily have won on both of those occasions. Obviously, the loss of 2 to 5 earlier on in the year at Saratoga was a bit disappointing. But other than that, that's just been a model of consistency. I think that a mile 1 is probably just about the maximum range. I think that the times where it's been 9 and 10 furlongs, it's not looked as good as a mile. So I don't think there's any chance of a Breeders' Cup Classic down the line over a mile 2. But I think that this horse over a mile is a fucking rocket. I absolutely love her. I think she's really, really consistent. Jose Ortiz will take the ride here as well. Obviously, he's got a massive ride in the Breeders' Cup Classic that we'll talk about in minutes. But I just think Nitrogen 4 to 1. I was giddy. Like I seen right, stall 1. Not a massive fan, like I said, about low draws on the dirt. That would be. I'm in the same situation as I was with City of Troy a year ago with my nap. But other than that, 4 to 1, I got giddy when I seen the price, and I two-stepped it into town, and I took a little bit of that with William Hill this morning. So I went in like a buzzing little bee. I had this big smile on my face, and they went morning, and they went, "Oh, what you into back today? You doing something in Ireland?" No, I want America on Saturday. I says, "Give me Del Mar, get it up on the screen." She said 4 to 1. I said, "Yeah, I'll have some of that."
Have some of that. Fair enough, Ad. So for those of you who didn't watch the podcast last year, when Harrison has a nap of the meeting, that also means lay of the meeting for everybody else.
Segment ignored. Just passed by the last 2 minutes of that little ensemble. That was he's absolutely bang on. At least you're getting a price this year. If you're wrong, at least you're wrong at 4 to 1.
Yeah, Yeah, I didn't really have much of an opinion, to be fair. I probably will back Seismic Beauty, but you made a good case for Nitrogen. Maybe I might change my mind. I don't know. My nap is coming up later, though, so don't worry about that.
There you go. Well, we best get kicking on then. Oh, bigger prices here. I didn't really like a lot. I thought Scylla 20-1. She's been battered a couple of times this year, but there's no reason not to not to see a bit of improvement out of her. But other than that, I was so big on this at 4-1.
Fairs, right? The good opinion, mate. Jin beat her.
There we go.
Beat her last time out. So what do you think about
that? Jin. I'd be a bit annoyed if that won. To be fair,
okay.
I just obviously beat Nitrogen last time out by a head, and then the same argument that we made earlier for the 2-year-old races about the idea that how can one horse be 130 and one be 8-1? If you want one at a good price, 12-1 is surely won't go off 12-1 on the Saturday is what I figured out of this. But the thing is with Jin was about 20-1 that day that I beat Nitrogen, and before that gave every reason to believe so because it was twice well out the frame at Churchill Downs. Won at a big price at Keeneland earlier in the year, so it's a bit of an up and down horse. But I just think if the race runs to its true ratings and value, Nitrogen should put her away pretty early.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Right, okay.
And that was what
big
I took
opinion by Harrison on the big race.
My
nap is coming up for the next race.
There we go. Speaking of the next race, the 9:41. This is where it really gets good. The Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. They're over 1 mile and 4 furlongs. This is where the British have obviously come into their own, or the British and Irish, I should say, have come into their own in the last couple of years. And it's 2 horses at the top of the market that we'd all be more than familiar with now at this stage. The Oaks winner, Mini Hawk, second in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe last time out, 11-10 favorite here. Rebels Romance, the stunning Globetrotter, 7 years of age now, won the race 12 months ago, looking to do it again here at 100-30. Goliath's in there for Francis Henri Graffard, probably the best French chance I would say of the entire week, is it at 10-1. Has been a bit up and down this year as a 5-year-old, but plenty of talk for that. Amalok 14-1 for Rafe Beckett. Wimbledon Hawkeye big day out. That'll be for the Gredleys with James Owen 20-1. And who'd have thought I'd be mentioning William Mullins at the bottom of the market? Ethical Diamond at 25-1. If he wins a Breeders' Cup race, shut up shop, give it up, and let's all just go home. That's your field then for the Breeders' Cup Turf. You've given the assumption that your nap is going to be in this race. I've backed one, and I'm hoping that you're going to follow in, but I'm a bit worried you might not.
All right, okay, all right. So, for those who don't remember the podcast last year, me and Harrison had a 25-minute argument about a City of Troy and Sierra Leone in the big race last year, and I feel like we're going to have the big argument here because I am napping Rebels Romance because I do not fancy Mini Hawk at all.
No.
So I will say this, right? So Mini Hawk this year has come second in Arc and has won 4 Oaks, if you count the Chester Oaks as a proper Oaks. I do not think that Mini Hawk is a legendary horse. I do not think that she is. I don't think she's a great. I think that she's benefited from a poor year on the flat with poor horses running against her. I literally said this about the Arc a few weeks up to the Arc. I was like, I couldn't have Mini Hawk at all. I ended up backing her for the Arc just because I looked at the field. I couldn't find an angle for the Arc, and I said this is a really poor renewal of the Arc. Obviously, since then, a load of horses are winning from the Arc, which is kind of destroying the theory. But Mini Hawk pulled away with Diaz that day. The horse that was 4th was a horse called Giovati. That's a terrible pronunciation. But and he is a 1.6 horse on a good day. And I couldn't believe that he finished 4th in an Arc. I do not fancy Mini Hawk at all. I think that she'll get beaten. I think Rebels Romance will run his race. I think he'll win. I actually don't think Mini Hawk will finish second, and I think big Rafe Beckett's horse will finish second, Amalek. So go on. Let's have the argument.
Hang on a minute. There we go.
Let's have the argument then. Go on.
I cannot believe what you've just said. about not beating anything all year. That's a horrible thing to say.
I
All right, be obviously she's been in Phillies and Mares campaign, and so obviously when you go over to fight the boys, you have to expect that things are going to be a bit different. But obviously, mind you, you get to wait for it, don't you? So what you getting? £7 off Rebels Romance? I mean that for a start is a massive fact. £7 is huge. I just look, firstly, to give Rebels Romance his due, I think he's an absolute legend of the sport. We both backed him last year in this race, and I've backed Rebels Romance plenty this year. I think he was about 2-1 at the Royal Meet and really saved Charlie Appleby's nuts, didn't he? And to be
that was fantastic
because that was a terrible week for Godolphin. And Rebels Romance, that model of consistency we talk about, he's done it. He's been there. He's done it before, so you can see why he's at the top of the market. I think the comment about Minnie Hawk not being a legend is unfair because she's still only 3. And if she trains on for another year, she's going to have to do it in open company. And that's when you can start, bandaging around the idea of her being a legend. Second in an arc is no mugs game. She ran a brilliant arc. She very nearly won the arc. And
no,
I don't know how you'd be able to then
she
say
ran
that,
a good arc.
Yeah.
But the arc itself was a poor renewal.
I don't think it was a bad arc. I just think that the majority of the good horses just didn't turn up. Which I know sounds like I'm contradicting myself there, but
yes,
there was still some good horses in there. Obviously, Darius was a bit of a surprise, but like Sosi has now ran 2 top 3 arcs in 2 years. He's obviously a very good horse. I'll let you have Giovolato, and the Japanese horse was a bit sort of I don't know what was going on there, but Kalpana subsequently has won again at Champions Day, so the form obviously is there. Avonshore we know is a good enough horse, so I think it's harsh to call it a bad. It's not the greatest arc of all time. It's not a See the Stars level arc, but. No. I just, I think that the form lines are pretty solid. I can understand why Minnie Hawk's the favourite. I'm not lunge diving in and calling this my next best on the card by any stretch, but I just think Minnie Hawk's the better of the 2 horses.
Okay. All right. Okay. You know what? In fairness, I thought we were going to have a bigger argument there, but I want to say one more thing about Minnie Hawk. I thought that she got an easy win in the Epsom Oaks. I thought Will should have beat her that day. I'll be honest with you. I know you backed Will.
Yeah, I was on Will that day.
And I thought I was going to get a big text message about how poor the ride was, and I didn't. You were great.
No, I was just unlucky not to win. I think that's all that was.
Okay. Then she had a pretty easy run in the Irish Oaks when she was like 1-50 on. We might take the long way. Never looked like beating her, but we might take the long way. I always thought she was going to turn into a good horse. Hasn't. Estrange, when she beat Estrange in the Yorkshire Oaks, that was such a poor renewal. I go to York every year for the 4 days. I didn't turn up on this Thursday this year because
this race was so poor.
Because the race was so poor, man. I love that
poor renewal, but absolutely really poor renewal.
So she keeps on winning all these poor renewals.
Estrange is a Group 2 winner in her own right as well, and she finished second to Kalpana again. That Kalpana Estrange form, I think, is good. I think they're 2 good fillies.
No, I'll be honest with you. I'm not 1,000% sure that Estrange is going to turn up to be a good horse this year. I feel like with good horses, when she nearly got beat at Haydock, I know the ground was unfavourable, but I've always thought if you were a good or a great horse, the ground doesn't matter that much. And she's obviously a horse that can only perform on soft and heavy conditions. So I don't think that's a line to draw into. You were joking about Ethical Diamond.
It fucking was.
Yeah.
Drawn 14 as well.
But I want to make a serious point about Ethical Diamond. I think that if Willie Mullins, sort of, I think he's so good at the jumps racing. He obviously is fantastic. The best, probably the best jumps race trainers ever. Maybe.
Probably.
Okay. I've always believed that he could do damage on the flat if you had a proper go. If you had a proper go at it, it seems like it's a joke, but he only seems to win, the 2 mile bumpers.
Yeah.
But
But he's won a couple of Ebors. Like you are right. If he gave, it's the same with Aidan O'Brien. Obviously, he came over from the jumps, obviously with Istabrack and other brilliant horses, switched over and has become the greatest trainer of all time. Willie Mullins, he won't do it now because he's too old, but he would have the ammunition and the ability to win Breeders' Cup races.
Yes, I've always thought that like if he had a proper go in the sales and had a proper go for like 2 or 3 years, I feel like Ireland needs another good trainer to compete against Aidan O'Brien. I've always thought, the Irish Derby is always a poor renewal. And I've always thought if Willie Mullins just had a decent 3-year-old, he could probably win the Irish Derby each year. Maybe. Yeah. But I don't think it will be today for Willie Mullins.
You're not giving Ethical Diamond a chance?
No. Okay. Maybe he's here for looking for a handicap mark. I couldn't believe when he won the no, this was really annoying. I just remembered he came fourth in the county hurdle, didn't
he? Yes.
Yes, I couldn't believe that. I think I backed him and Absurd and Cargeese. I backed them anti-post, and when bloody Cargeese got Paul Townend on, I was like, when you've done your money.
Just never rides in the county, by the way. Just picked up Cargeese. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. He never rides in the county. Any time that Paul Townend runs a handicap at Cheltenham, you might as well just.
I'll back it every time. Yeah. Every time he's got anything in a handicap, it's the same with Aintree. Just back it, just blind back
exactly. Sorry, so I thought there was going to be more of an argument. I just think the Rebels Romance.
Rebels Romance is a legend. If he wins and it beats Mini Hawk, I wouldn't be too upset because I love Rebels Romance as much as William Buick does, and Buick's going to have winners, of course, over the course of the weekend. I didn't have anything to oppose Rebels Romance with last year when we did it. I do this year with Mini Hawk. I think she's fantastic. And I think Goliath is a very good horse as well for Francis Henri Graffard as well, and one last time out. So I think obviously he's been waiting an age to try and get a winner over in the Breeders' Cup. I think this could be it. I think Amalok's probably just not good enough. Obviously has been like ultra consistent all year round, but I think this is a step up. Wimbledon Hawkeye, as a horse I liked a lot as a 2-year-old. Split the Lion and Winter and the Godolphin horse that day that we were at York, and has been pretty good since. But again, this is a step up for me. I think it's between the top two. I think they'll finish probably well clear of the others.
Yeah, no, I think Rave's horse. I think he ran really well at Ascot, and it didn't work out in the Irish meeting at Leopardstown the last time, but I do think he'll turn into a good horse next year. So I think he'll have a chance today. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Al Ripper was stunning that day as well. By the way, I think he'd had a very good chance if he came here.
Yeah.
But it's Rebels Romance for you. It's Mini Hawk for me in the Breeders' Cup Turf. That is probably the race I'm most interested for, outside of the one that we have got coming up for you next. Then it's always a pleasure to bring you into this, and we've got a lot of talking points to go through this year as well for the 2025 Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. $7 million. You won't find a bigger race on planet Earth. 2 furlongs on the dirt track, 3-year-olds and above. He won the Kentucky Derby. He won the Travers Stakes. He comes here as the 7-4 favorite for Godolphin. Sovereignty draws 6. William Mott Jr. Alvarado. We've got talking points with him, of course, for the last couple of days and what's come since. Of the 4-year-olds, and it feels crazy that he is for Fierceness is going to reoppose here at 5-1. Last year's winner, Liam's winning selection, Sierra Leone, is back at 5-1, draw 7. Forever Young comes out of the Saudi Cup to try and win this at 8-1. Mindframe is in there for Todd Pletcher at 10-1, and the famous Silks, of course, once a Flightline. Journalism, the fan favourites there at 12-1. Baeza 16-1. Aquitarian is 20-1. Nevada Beach 25-1. And contrary thinking 150-1 for Chad Brown, Florence Giroux. If that wins, I am never betting again. Sovereignty is at the Sovereignty's at the top of the market here, Liam. Of course, what we have to do before we talk about the race is the fitness of Sovereignty. Reports in the last 24 hours, he's had a mild fever. When William Mott was asked about it, he gave the most stern face you've ever seen of a man. He said, he's fine. If you didn't know he had a temperature, you wouldn't have even checked. So you've got that to factor in, but otherwise, this brilliant Kentucky Derby winner lines up an absolutely stunning classic on paper. You've got 2 3-year-olds in here who have taken each other on a few times and look brilliant doing so against a field of 4-year-olds with the likes of Forever Young, Sierra Leone, and Fierceness, who have just been brilliant. Really, they've given us some fantastic racing at this level. It's not a wide open classic because you've got a strong favourites. Are you put off by Sovereignty's comments in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for 7-4, and then reports coming out he's got fever. I don't know if for 7-4. I don't know how much I like that. To be fair, obviously the trainers come out and said no, it's fine. But 7-4 is pretty steep for something that maybe you're not 100% sure about.
Funnily enough, do you know who was 7-4 this time last year?
City of Troy.
City of Troy.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. And City of Troy, remind me, Harrison, did City of Troy win?
He's just broke. I think he's taking the first turn now. A year on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He lost after the first furlong, didn't he? So go on. I didn't actually think this was I thought this was the race of the meeting. To be fair,
it genuinely could be race of the decade. It's absolutely stacked.
I thought this was, and therefore having 7-4 the favourite, I thought this was a really difficult race. I had a lean in with Journalism. I do think Journalism might turn out to be the horse that I thought he might have been at the start of the year. He's obviously, he keeps on finishing second or first, but he keeps on getting beat by Sovereignty, doesn't he? So, I don't know, man. Sovereign? I think this is just a watch. What do you think?
Before I go to my selection, Journalism is another one of the two talking points. Of course, we talked there about Sovereignty. You're not too worried about the fever. I'm not, because if there was a significant issue with him, you would see it in the market. Since that comment, he's literally moved from 13-8 to 7-4. And the morning lines in America, he's still 9-5. There's been no change. If he drifted a bit more, I'd be more concerned. So I wouldn't put you off Sovereignty personally. Journalism, the second talking point, of course. Umberto Rispoli loses the ride here to Jose Ortiz. And that is a massive, massive thing for him. Umberto Rispoli came out with the American newspapers and said his son was crying for 2 hours. He couldn't believe what was going on. Devastating for Rispoli. Ortiz, a huge ride for him. Yeah. Your thoughts on what had happened there?
Yeah, no, you know what? Honestly, I don't mind it so much, because I feel like with a horse, you get such a limited amount of time to make them into a sire. He needs to beat Sovereignty, doesn't he? He needs to beat Sovereignty to get a bigger stud feet next year, doesn't he? I just feel like there's no better man than our man Jose, is there? What do you think? Do you think it's a bad decision?
I found it really, really unfair on Rispoli. And I say that because I take you back to the Preakness after the Derby. The Derby, the best horse just won. Sovereignty. I was on Journalism that day, and Sovereignty was just a better horse. There's no two ways about it. Obviously, the ground was a lot more tepid than it looks like it's going to be on Saturday at Delamar, but I just thought he was better. But then the ride that Rispoli gave in the Preakness was one of the greatest rides I've ever seen in my life. That horse was frozen stop. It could not move off the rail whenever they turned in. The horse literally stopped for a motional second. The way he was able to rally the horse back, and the way Journalism won, and why I call him the fan favorite here, is because that win was absolutely incredible. Obviously, he's defied it since with a defeat against Sovereignty, but then has of course won since. So it kind of, the form lines there are pretty difficult to see him overturning Sovereignty. He's my pick in the race.
Oh, is he? I thought you were going to pick Forever Young, to be fair.
Well, there you go. There's the graphic. I've got two selections actually in the race. It's going to be. So Journalism is actually, I know it sounds stupid because the market, he would be my first selection in the race, like my biggest stake. I love this horse so much. Like I think it's probably my favorite dirt horse ever. at least.
That's Journalism.
Yes, Journalism.
Okay.
Genuinely, probably at least since Flightline, anyways, or Gun Runner. I mean, he is just an absolute dog, isn't he? And that win at Plymouth was just fucking. I've never seen anything like it. And even money I had him that day, he was just unbelievable. Yes, obviously, he's got to turn the form over with Sovereignty. Sovereignty wins this. he's on par with Flightline, with Gunrunner, with American Pharaohs, those absolute legends of the game on the dart.
Yeah.
And he probably will. 7-4 with the comments this week. I don't know. I just I think the ground might just not be his absolute strong suit. If it was a sloppy ground, then I'd lump on him. But for me, I just thought Journalism getting 12-1 about a horse that's been the only thing close to him this year, I thought was the right price. So Journalism would be my main selection.
Okay.
That you pointed it out there. Forever Young is going to be my second 8-1 here. Another horse with a pure model of consistency. Of course, if anybody watched the Saudi Derby at the start of the year with Romantic Warrior, if this isn't race of the decade, that probably was. It was a stunning Saudi Cup. Those two pulled.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was a
incredible, wasn't it? It was two brilliant horses. Romantic Warrior obviously retired now, but we went back onto the turf after that. Those two pulled 10 lengths clear of Ushpa Tesoro, who again is a horse that's been at this level for so long, and if he turned up, would have his own fighting chance. The Japanese, of course, like I've said, are desperate for global winners. They've never won the Breeders' Cup Classic, so this is probably the best chance they've ever had. Forever Young, I'm hoping it's around this time of year that he's at his best, and this is the main target for him. I think 8-1's a bit fair. Ryoshi Sakai takes the ride there. So they were my two main plays in the game. But I'm going to be honest with you, bar the Ruffy, I can't put you off anything here. I can't. Like I look at all of them. I think there is a genuine case from Sovereignty right down to Nevada Beach. The lines are sound. The thing. I'm not trying to be sharpie with City of Troy like I was a year ago. These are my two horses, but you can have yours if that makes sense.
Yeah. Fierceness is a great horse as well, and so with Sierra Leone, this has probably been the target of this season. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. I think that Mike Rapoli made that pretty clear at the start of the year. They were going to work backwards from the Breeders' Cup, and you know what you're going to get out of Fierceness. Like you know his top ceiling, but it's a very fucking high ceiling on its day.
Yeah, exactly. So and obviously because Sierra Leone won this and Delmar, it's fairly unusual for the Breeders' Cup to be the same track.
Yeah, it's the first time in decades it's been back-to-back years, just the way they're resetting them. Yeah, it's because it's going to New York, I think, next year. That's why it's been 2 years in California.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we should do this podcast next year from New York.
Yeah, live from the Empire State Building.
Yeah, that's what we should do, really.
I will get back to you on the producers of the Big Five podcast and see if there's enough money in the budget, and we'll go and do it trackside in Saratoga.
We'll do it trackside. We'll get Angel Ryan in as well. However,
easy find, yeah.
No, but I thought, you know what I might do? I might do Journalism each way and Sierra Leone each way, and then just see and just watch and enjoy. I feel like I won't. I'll have the bets where it's like, if you lose, it's fine because it'll be a great race, but like not severe stakes. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a race to enjoy.
You don't need to have a big bet in a race like this to enjoy it, really, do you? I mean, this is just as good as racing gets. We'll just go quickly back to Sovereignty before we wrap this race up.
Yes.
We are really with this horse talking about something that would go into that legendary campaign with the gun runners. And if he was able to win a classic this stacked, he's a 6-figure stud next year. Presumably, this is the last time they'll ever run him. But then again, I mean, look at the 4-year-olds that have trained on, and look how well they've done. The likes of Fierceness and Sierra Leone. There's just nothing to put you off, and he was brilliant. Obviously, last time out in the Travers Stakes, blew them away. I think it was 10, 12 lengths in the end that it won by. I mean, it's just been brilliant since. There's nothing to put you off the favourite from me, and I'm sure Liam agrees.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just a small talking point on that. We think it's going to be his last run, regardless.
Probably.
Have you noticed that recently, since like the Japanese are becoming more involved in buying horses, that our sires have to run to 4 years old? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, it hadn't crossed my mind, but you make a good point. Obviously, there's more competition in the game now, which is why these fields for these $7 million classics are being so stacked on, because you've got 3 4-year-olds that probably didn't need to train on, But
Yeah.
obviously, Forever Young won a $16 million Saudi Cup. Fierceness has won 2 Group 1s this year. Sierra Leone's back defending a crown to win another $7 million for Coolmore. So it's very much like you can see why the Japanese pressure has allowed for races like this. And I think it's a fantastic thing, because otherwise you would have a class of 3-year-olds where Sovereignty would be the favorite, Journalism would be there, and then the rest of them would all kind of just be Baeza, Sandman, horses like that would just be in behind.
There was a load of Group 1 horses from Britain that's staying on next year, and I just kind of thought years ago this race would just be predominantly 3-year-olds, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting thing. The trends are kind of changing, aren't they?
Yeah.
For retirement.
It definitely is. So we will share Journalism as the main tip there for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Liam's going to have an each way going Sierra Leone. I'm going to take Forever Young against the favourite, who I've got no problem with winning if he did. It's going to be a fantastic Breeders' Cup Classic.
Good to see there's an agreement across the board.
I know. Makes a change from 12 months ago.
Is it great minds coming together, think alike, or is it dim minds never different?
Yeah, if you like.
Which one is it? We'll find out on Sunday.
You pick. if we're not back in a year's time, you know which one it was. We'll move on then, because we've got a couple of races.
I'll be on the show in New York, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for that. We've got a couple of races that come after the Classic these days, with the schedule on NBC changing, which is no problem with us, because it just means talking more racing and 2 fantastic Group 1s to finish you off with here. The 11:05 is the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Miles, presented by the PDJF. It's a Grade 1 over the Dead Mile. Godolphin just had a favourite 5 seconds ago. They've got another one here, one that we're a lot more accustomed to, of course. Notable Speech in his 4-year-old campaign here, the 9-4 favourite, and then it's big prices about the rest. You've got Salan, another big chance in there for the French, with Francis Henri Graffard and Mikel Barthelona for the ride. The enigmatic Lion and Winter, the 3rd favourite here at 7-1, has not won a race this year. 10-1 about the Americans in the field. Notable Speech then, Liam?
I'm going to say no on Notable Speech. I think he's too short here. I haven't really, it's one of those horses that, like, if you backed it this year, if you backed Notable Speech at Deauville, even I thought he was a terrible bet when he went back to 6 furlongs, but he just seems to be the horse that, like, looks like he's going to win and then doesn't win. I did actually do. He ran at Woodbine a few weeks ago, didn't he?
And that's the big talking point. I watched the FanDuel breakfasts, and they've said, Richard Prasad's over there, brilliant analyst of the game, has said that having that run at Woodbine, because obviously he was in this race last year and was second, having that run, it was Canada, but having the run over in North America this year before this is going to do wonders for the horse. And if he was 90% last year, then having that run is why he's justifiably the favourite.
Yeah. That day at Woodbine was a bit weird, because I think Buke had like 6 rides or something, didn't they? All of them, maybe 4. I think I did a treble and just watched it as an interest, and I think this was the only winner. He seemed to be riding Woodbine like it was Saratoga for some weird reason. I don't know if you noticed that, but maybe that's pocket talk. I don't know. But this horse is obviously, now he's got the experience in North America. Maybe that will be his advantage. But he should have won. He should have definitely won a couple of races this year. He probably could have won at Ascot, and he should have won at Deauville, shouldn't he?
Yes.
So maybe he's just one of those horses that maybe he's a bit weak in the finish, and maybe that doesn't work out here. I actually did think that you were talking about the French best chance was the race with Goliath. I thought the French best chance was this horse, the Salan. I thought he's been impressive this season. I thought beating Rosalina is impressive form. I think despite not winning this year, Rosalina has pretty much ran his race in pretty much every Group 1 he's entered. I do think he's borderline being unlucky, and I think that brings together the best form for the 3-year-olds. I think the Lion in Winter, I'm not 1,000% sure about. It was the
He's
best run.
slowly starting to get his act together, the Lion and Winter, isn't he? But you've had to pay a lot of money to see him get this close to winning a Group 1.
He's been one of those horses all year that's just like has been well backed, and I think I backed him. The only time I backed him was when he got beat in the Dante, and I think even though he was incredibly short, it was just like there was all those trials were like Chester was on, and then there was other trials at Lingfield and Epsom, and Aidan O'Brien won just pretty much all of them,
yeah.
right? And this is the only one he didn't win.
Yeah.
But I pretty much backed O'Brien in most of those trials, so I wasn't that bothered. And that Dante looked poor, and then the Dante looked really good at one point.
Yeah.
So the form sort of worked out that it didn't work out for Epsom, but it worked out in the latter half of the season. I could see why people would back the Lion and Winter as opposed to Noble Speech here, but obviously our man Aidan again. What do you think?
Are you going with Salon then?
I'm going to go Salon. I'm going to go each way though.
Yeah, Salon.
I'm going to go each way.
Okay. I am going to go with Notable Speech.
Right.
I'm not like be all end all confident on it, to be fair, but then I looked, and the way I work my races is I work from the favorite backwards, and I try to find things that can get it beat. Salon's good and a pretty fair price. The Lion and Winter, you've just paid too much money to see that horse not be good enough. Maybe this is a bit, I shouldn't be doing this, but I've discounted most of the American horses. I think Program Trading, consistent 5-year-old 2 seconds this year, is probably the best of those chances. Flavian Pratt takes that ride. John Quill's over there for Andrew Balding, who I don't, like John Quill's a weird horse because he can obviously go and win Group 1s like he has done this season, but then like since the Greenham, just not really been consistent enough for me, to be fair. Won that day at Goodwood, but that was like a yucky race, really. I didn't really like anything in that. So Kirat, the great Sussex winner, is in there at 25-1 as well. Like, if he wins again, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? But I think Notable Speech, there's enough pace on in front of him, you'll be able to charge home late, and I think that from stall 2, low draught turf, already made my case for it. I just thought he was just probably about a good enough bet at 9-4. If he gets any shorter, I wouldn't touch it.
I thought Kirat was an interesting runner here because I thought it was very weird because obviously he won as a pacemaker, let's say. Obviously you made the pace at Goodwood, but then didn't make the pace at York the last time, and then didn't do a Longchamp. Do you think he might go back to front runner? Maybe that would seem better.
I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea what you do with Kirat. I mean, he's obviously going to go faster than John Quill will, but they're not setting Kirat up for John Quill, are they? It's not like no,
yeah. That's why I just thought it was so weird. Because I didn't back him at Goodwood because I'm not a genius, but I did back him at York because I looked at that race and I just thought front runners are favoured at York, and I thought it was really weird that he didn't. Just set the fractions. He was prominent, but he didn't set the fractions. You know what I mean? So I what do you even do with Kirat? Is it just sort of pure fluke, or was
just leave him and assume he's not going to do it again? The thing is, they go too quick in American racing that he won't be allowed to do at Delmar what he did at Goodwood that day.
No,
obviously,
okay.
the jockeys and the way that the racing right in Britain is, you don't mind seeing a pacemaker boil along because they normally come back. Not always the case in America, because normally pace from the front is where you win your races. More so in the dirt, yes, but I don't think that Kirat's just going to be allowed by these American jockeys. Like Flavian Pratt's not going to give fucking Colin Keane, Ross O'Brien 25 lengths off the start. It just won't happen. There isn't enough time over a mile on those sharp turns at Delmar to. Again, this is effectively riding like a 7 furlong race as well. So
yeah.
You've kind of got to look at, obviously, Notable Speech went back down to 6 furlongs to try and steal one of the sprints. Didn't work. Terrible idea. Godolphin were silly for it. But back up to the actual genuine mile makes more sense. And I just think that Kirat over a short mile that's going to ride like 7, if he wins, you'd be more angry now than you were in Sussex, because the Sussex, you could just make arguments that the jockeys were at fault. There's no excuse here. Look at the list of the jockeys here: Buick, Barcelona, Sumion, Rispoli, Ortiz, Pratt, Keane, Dettori. It's not going to happen again.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I know what I have a funny story to tell you. Okay. Do you know where the term upset comes from?
I've no idea.
Okay, it comes from horse
Bad
racing.
journalism.
Okay, so there was a horse called Man of War. You probably have heard of it. It was
I've
a
heard of Man of
legendary
War.
horse in the 1930s.
Yeah.
And he was unbeaten for all of his career. And then he got beat when he was like 1 to 10 by a horse called Upset. And that's since has where the term, when people say, oh, it was a bit of an upset, and you know, when K-Rat won, it was a bit of an upset. But it's just funny that there's an upset horse, and Man of War. It just reminds me of that story. Bit of knowledge shared today, boys.
Group 1 tips and history lessons. You get it all here on the Big Five. If anybody ever needed to know where that term came from, that is where you get it from. Top 2 in the market for us in the Breeders' Cup Mile Turf.
If you've learned nothing today, let it be known that
you haven't, because you've learned that. There you go. We'll move on because we've got 2 more races to wrap up with here quickly. The 11:45 from Del Mar, back in the dirt this time for the Breeders' Cup Mile there. Grade 1, dead mile again. Bob Baffert back off the naughty step, like we said, 13-8 here with Nisos, who's been very good recently in his 4-year-old campaign. Full Surrounders 4-1, goal oriented, another one for Baffert there at 8-1, who was involved in the assassination attempt of journalism in the Preakness earlier on in the season. And then bigger prices about the rest. But stick down an old Derby favourite in there for now as well. Nisos 13-8, stunning horse, Liam. I'm quite keen on this one.
Yeah, so am I, mate. I think Nisos will just win. I think he's relatively low mileage. I think this. Oh, okay. Yeah, so he has run in a Group 1 before. He came second. Oh, sorry, Grade 1, sorry. I thought that he would just be the one who kind of wins. Maybe he's going to be the favourite. Maybe he's going to be the one in the doubles. I did find it interesting that Wathan has a horse. Do you know much about that horse, that Wathan horse?
No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I assume this is a recent purchase from them as well, because
is it a recent purchase? Okay,
I assume so because it's ran a ton. So.
Oh, okay, right. So
picked up at the very end of 2024.
Oh, okay, right, okay. So yeah, I didn't have much of an angle here. I just kind of thought Nisos would win, but then Touch of Destiny, he won at Maiden. Where's he been running? Has he been running in Japan?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I can't see Japanese form.
Apologies, no, sorry. He's been running in Uruguay in South America.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah. I ignore all Japanese form. I don't know if I'm not a huge fan of the believer in Japanese form, but I just thought that was a weird one.
Someone never backed Equinox when he was running then.
I've cancelled that off. He's been running in Uruguay, has he?
Yes. Well, very limited information for you. He's got 6 wins, but your company have only listed him having 1 Group 3 in June as a winner. Okay. Presumably they were all in Uruguay.
Yeah.
Michael McCarthy trains, of course, the American trainer, so he's well known. So,
do Uruguay are they good on the international scene? I would. Would you?
I'm not going to take it at 33-1 against the favorite.
No, fair enough. I'm just going to say the favorite. Yeah, this always remind me of a story. I was in. I'm going to tell you another story. I was in a Ladbrokes in York once, and there was Uruguayan horse racing on the screen. There was a guy who just done his nut that day at York, and he was just backing these replays from Uruguay on the screen, and it kind of looked like it was the races were like 30 years old, and they were just watching like video recordings. And I said to the guy, I said, "Come on, man, you know what I mean?" I was like, "Christ, I mean, this is poor." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time I hear about your ground racing, I always think about Chile and South American racing at Ladbrokes.
Yeah, it's
Go
great.
on, sorry.
It's great to have that enhancement of going up to 13 countries for the Breeders' Cup, but I'd be surprised if a horse of that ability was able to win. Be it obviously it's got a ton of ones beside its name, so maybe just watch the space on that one.
Go on. Are you agreeing Nisos is probably just too good?
Way too good, yeah. I think he's been a
Yeah.
model of consistency the last couple of runs. I think 13 to 8 now is probably about a right price. Like you said, he'll be the one for doubles. There's obviously kind of like a lot of old guards in there. Obviously, Chance and Patrick there at 40 to 1. I thought was a fucking ridiculous price. Mystic Downs won a Derby before. Citizen Bull's a good horse. White Barrio was the one I took as my each way play. Obviously, absolutely hammered Commons, didn't it, for the ride over in England earlier in the season.
Which one's the each way horse?
White Barrio.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just thought 10 to 1 just felt like a really cozy price. Obviously,
yeah, has all right form behind decent horses, doesn't it?
I've backed it a lot of times. I mean, obviously, it's been a perennial Grade 1, a Group 1 contender for the last couple of seasons now. Yeah, he's getting on at 6, but I have to work a little bit of magic off the top here. Wide draw, bit of a pain. Nisos comes out of 3, White Barrier comes out of 10. So he's got a little bit of work to do from there. But I thought 10 to 1 of the old guards, I thought he had the best chance. But I think Nisos is just way too good here.
Yeah. I don't really have much of an angle. I just think Nisos will win.
Yeah, he should just be way too good. One race left then to take you from, and it's in the early hours of Sunday morning if you're staying up past your bedtime. The Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare's Turf, Grade 1. 1 mile, 3 furlongs, open company. See the fire, back to the British horses here. See the fires at the top of the market at 9 to 2. I'm a bit surprised to see that personally. Cinderella's Dream is 4 years of age now as well at 5 to 1. Gazora's in there, another one for the French. Graffard surely should have a winner with the amount he has here. Then you're into Sherry DeVoe. She feels pretty at 11 to 2. Diamond Rain, big ride for Billy Lochner, and that at 8 to 1 has an absolutely massive chance. Big prices if you like any of the rest. This is a.
Why don't you lead?
I'll
ask you the questions, right?
Go on then.
I'll ask you the questions, right? So you went see the fire. A bit surprised to see her so short.
Yeah.
Why are you surprised to see the fire so short?
I think that the lack of a win since York has probably put me off the horse enough where, all right, fair enough. You're looking at the fact that it's lost to Whirl, it lost in France to a good horse. Yeah, yes. Look, maybe it's doing enough consistently to justify why it's 9 to 2 at the top of the market. I've never really been on side with her. Good and fast ground is probably her cup of tea, to be fair. So I think she's got a good chance in that regard. But otherwise, I'll discard her at 9 to 2.
Okay, I would disagree. I think the form behind Whirl at Goodwood, because that was such a joke of a race.
Oh yeah, well, the flag start and all that.
Flag start in a Group 1. But I thought, she had decent form against the boys this year. I thought anyway. I thought she was a fair favourite. I mean, I'm not going to back her, but I thought she was a fair favourite.
Well, who's your selection then for the race?
I was going to lean into the French guy again. I was going to go for Gazora, even though I've already said the Arc was a great form. But I thought she was ran really well in the early part of the French season. I think she beat Bedtime Story, and she came close to a venture on the Arc Trial Day. I thought she was a good, because she's getting the weight allowance for age, and I just thought
£4 for being 3, yeah.
And I do love Cinderella's Dream, but I'm not sure about how is she a proper Group 1 horse anymore. What do you think?
I agree. I think she's fading into the abyss at the top level, and I think 5 to 1 is probably justified. I mean, if she's going to win again, you're going to get paid for it. But this is a wide open and a bit of a trappy Group 1 for me. But I was in agreement. I think Gazora's able to put that arc behind her pretty quickly. I don't think she likes that tacky ground. I think her best results have come on good to soft, and again she's going to get fast ground in America. The win at Longchamp when she did in the Group 2 was fantastic. Really beat a horse I was on that day, Oberdon Park, at a very short price. Put that away pretty comfortably, and since then has been okay. Like you said, they're second to Avonshaw that day in the trial. Avonshaw didn't run a great arc. So if I'm discounting arc lines, then I can bring myself back into back this at 5-1. I just wasn't too keen on the British contingent. I really hope Diamond Rain wins. If Gazora doesn't, I would love to see Billy Loughnane get one on the board. That would be a massive story for us over here. And I think Diamond Rain's got a pretty fair chance, to be fair. Some good wins early on in the season, and second last time. So
let me give you a question, Mark. What does Rebels Romance and Diamond Rain have in common?
They're both owned by Godolphin.
Okay, but they've both won the best track in the north of England. They've both won at Newcastle.
That's not Haydock, but all right. Anyone needs any Newcastle form to take to the Breeders' Cup with them this weekend? There's a fact for you. Diamond Rain and Rebels Romance is the Newcastle double on the card.
I backed Diamond Rain when she won at Newcastle, and I was, you know, when it was it was that weird race at Newcastle where it's like a Friday night and you have a group 3 for whatever reason.
Yeah,
but Diamond Rain was in it, and I backed her, and she was plenty short, but I thought she was the best horse in the race. I do actually kind of like Diamond Rain for this as well. She is kind of she's relatively unexposed, isn't she?
Yeah.
She didn't have a 2-year-old campaign.
Not really, no.
No. And she ran at Woodbine, didn't she, on that night that Notable Speech won.
Yeah. So again, if you're going back to the idea that they needed a run in America to get good, Godolphin do that all the time, especially Applebee's. I don't think this is a bad bet at 8-1 personally.
This is the first time Buke hasn't rode her.
Yeah, but that's obviously he'd had the option there, so you've got to take that into consideration. So, but it would have been a pretty tricky decision to make, really. I mean, RPR, Cinderella's Dream 135, Diamond Rain 134, very little between them.
Yeah, this reminds me of Nation's Pride versus Rebels Romance a few years ago. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that, and that was a tricky decision for Buke as well. And obviously, he was gutted he got it wrong that day.
Yeah, he did.
The Doyle picked that one up at the time. Yeah, so it's going to be Gazora for both of us there in the fillies and mares, but I'm hoping
Rain.
Yeah, and Diamond Rain as well.
Anything about the American chance here?
She feels Pretty's a very good horse. I think that Sherry DeVoe's campaigned this horse very well over the last couple of years, and 3 wins from 4 this year. I don't think that it's a bad bet, and I actually think the money's probably, if everyone's having a bad day over there, I think they're going to lunge on to the American chance here. I think she might go off a bit shorter, but you can't back them all, I suppose. And I just thought Gazora had a better chance of flipping the arc form than she feels Pretty did of keeping ours up.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. So
yeah, so not my strongest play in the fillies and mares, but hopefully I'm not in that bad of a hole by then that we will not have to worry about it. We gave you our Breeders' Cup naps during the show, but I just want to run you back through them. Firstly, I'll go with yours. If you just want to remind us your best bet from the World Championship.
Mine was Rebels Romance in the mile 4.
Goes in the Breeders' Cup turf.
Breeders' Cup turf.
Yeah.
I think he always runs his race in abroad. He's had a decent season this year. I think he'd be pretty tricky to beat. I think he's drawn well, and I think the Mini Hawk is drawn poorly.
Mm-hmm.
She was drawn well for the arc, and you can do whatever you want with that draw in the arc. But this time she's drawn, I think, 14. Is that right, or 13? So I think that she's going to have a difficult night, and I just think that Rebels Romance will run his race and probably. Oh no, Mini Hawk's drawn 8. Sorry, I got confused with another Aidan O'Brien horse. But I do think Rebels Romance probably got the handier draw and probably will run his race and win. I think. Last year we did an each way one, didn't we?
Right? I think we did. Yes. If you want to put one up,
I will remember which one was the Friday night.
Well, whilst you do that, I'll just remind people of mine as well. It was Nitrogen who goes in the distaff on the Saturday as well at 4-1. Model of consistency, like I said, this year, never been outside the top 2. 7 races, 5 wins, 2 seconds. Unlucky not to be 7-0. Has been brilliant. Bursts over a mile. Irod takes the ride, and I think it's just too good. Each way selection?
Okay, each way selection. Actually, I'm going to go for journalism.
Journalism.
I was going to do the one on Friday night, but then I think I'm going to go journalism in the Breeders' Cup. Is it Breeders' Cup Classic?
The Classic,
right.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what it's called.
I'll give American Stage again at 33-1 in the Dart Sprint earlier on in the card. Again, massive price. And obviously Liam hates Japanese horses for some stupid reason, but I don't, and I hope it goes well at 33. He's been very good over there. So bit of work to do for its maiden form, but you never know. 33-1.
Okay, perfect.
There you go. So there is your double each way and your nap selections for this year's version of the Breeders' Cup Championships. Thank you so much for joining us for this prolonged episode. And hopefully within that 90 minutes, you've managed to find a couple of teasers. We've had some good stories about betting shops in Ladbrokes and where the name upset came from. So if you don't back winners, hopefully you enjoyed being with us. Liam, an absolute pleasure having you back with us. Thank you. And no doubt looking forward to the racing this weekend.
I am. What? Do you have any fancies for the jumps the weekend?
Yeah, well, good plug. Good you said that. Anyone who might have missed it, of course, we have the Jumps Racing podcast as well. We took you through Down Royal. We took you through Ascot and Wetherby for the Charlie Hall this weekend. We've got plenty of tips over there. I didn't give a nap, actually, for the Jumps Racing, but probably the best bet with me with the Hewitt, who comes over for the Charlie Hall at 5-1. If the ground stays good, I think he'll have a fantastic chance in that.
Oh, okay. All
so
right, okay.
you can when you get offline here now, you can go and check that podcast out, which is right below us here on YouTube as well. So you've got the jumps covered this weekend and the Breeders' Cup action as well. So thank you for the plug there, and thank you, Liam, for coming on. Really appreciate it, and thank you for giving us your time. Enjoy the Breeders' Cup this weekend. Have a good one, folks.
That you